Okay, I'm here. Just trying to clean up around here a little bit before I get started. Been a busy day. All right. So, last time I got Mayberry's body figured out. Oh, this place is such a mess. But it's a mess for a good reason. I've been working on stuff. So anyway, today I am going to probably pop off his antenna and hopefully, well, I'll probably pop off his antenna and his antenna and his eyes and start making his new antenna. So this one might be a little not for the faint of heart. You've seen me do this before, though. All right. So hopefully I'll have an easier time getting these antennae off than I did with Roberta. But it's going to be the same process. Oh, I did a bang-up job sewing this. So many threads. I've done a lot of repairs on this over the years, though, too. I can see just how this fabric just self-destructs. Note to self, don't use t-shirt ribbing for antenna or arm. So his stalks are longer than Roberta's were, but they didn't really hold his antenna up straight. So that's the main reason I'm removing them. I've been trying to build this thing, do these repairs, so that at the end of each little live stream, I have still a completed puppet. But because I have to paint both the antenna and the ears, and the eyes, I'll probably just take this one apart and then maybe make the antenna, and then paint it off camera tonight, and then tomorrow I'll install everything. You can see a little bit better how I did this. Hey Cassidy, how's it going? Are they doing a Jim Henson 70th anniversary retrospective? All right. There's one antenna. See, he looks like Charlie Brown without his hair. I probably should just cut all this off, or take off a good chunk of this and just sew the whole thing back on again. Is there like a TV special for it? I mean, I remember the 30th anniversary, which is one of the greatest Muppet specials they did. There's the other antenna. But I don't think they've done anything since. All right, there you go. Now he really looks like me. George Costanza. I'd love to install the new ones today just to get it done, but there's a lot of wire bending and painting that I have to do. I'm not sure if that makes good TV. All right. Oh my gosh. It's really disturbing to me to see him with this bald head like this. But the good news is, even if I have to do this tomorrow, which I'm probably going to, I should be able to start Sammy on Monday. Although I'm on crunch time for a project on Monday, so maybe I'll come back on Tuesday to do that. Now, he used to have a mechanism in his eyebrows, which never worked real well. But you can see this is where it went in. These big, ugly stitches. I'm surprised Sal doesn't get more play. He was a pretty fun little character. All right, well there he is. And what's interesting is you can see how the wear on this this fleece is kind of filled up around, except for this is how it looked when I put the eyes on. That's very interesting to me. All right, so oh my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty darn disturbing. Okay. Let me rip off all this stuff. I'm not even sure what I used for the eyes because that wasn't the normal tape that I use. They were just like paper. What was the last thing Clifford was in? He was in Muppets Tonight, but he started on Jim Henson Hour, didn't he? Hi, Laura. How's it going? Yeah, puppet eye surgery. These eyes might be dead. I thought I just used hot glue on this. Hi, Scott. Yeah, hopefully it'll be helpful to you. No, I haven't. I just took off the old antenna. So now he's bald and has no eyes and has no antenna. Just like me. I have one other set of these eyes, so if these get destroyed, I can always grab those. But I'd rather salvage these if I can. There we go. And what was he in Clifford? What was he in Muppets Wizard of Oz? I never have seen that one. Yeah, we could do that sometime. I'm pretty busy for the next week, but maybe after that we can schedule a time. I know you're in England, right? So you're much different timeline, but I'm pretty flexible. Let me see if I get this other one off. See, this makes some good YouTube content right here. And the only reason I'm taking this off is because even though I'm going to put it right back, or put others of it right back on, is because I'm going to paint the fronts. So I didn't do that originally because I didn't want them to chip, which might still be a concern, but they scuff so bad. All right. That's about as good as it's going to get. Okay, I'm going to get some Goo Gone and clean those up. I can put the eye stalks on these guys. I figure it wasn't nearly demoralizing to this guy to just take his eyes off. I've got to also put these chemicals in him. It's weird I can't get all that off. They don't look bad once I clean them up. What type of paint do you use, and then do you do a final coat of something over to protect it? I should put some dull coat on it, but I haven't done it on any of the others because I always forget and I don't have any on hand. And it's one more step that would delay me. So I'll probably pay for it not putting it on there. I should put a not a clear coat because that'll be shiny. But I should use a clear coat on it. I've just been using bonding Krylon flat white paint. I mean, chances are I'll have to do all this again at some point. Well, it doesn't matter if it's completely clean because I'm going to put the eyeball right there again, or the pupil. There you go. I'm going to rinse this off real quick. Okay, I'll sand these guys now. This is 800 grit, which is what I used on all the other ones. So it's got to be good. Mainly, I just want them all to be the same shade. And once I painted Ralph's eyes, they were whiter than all the other eyes that I had. Sammy has black eyes. So I guess I got to find some black paint. I think I'm going to actually shoot his gloss because they're supposed to be like hamster eyes. But I don't know. That could change at any moment. Well, the sandpaper took off most of this goo. Okay, those are ready to be painted now. I'm not going to paint those, but I have to wait for the office next door to close for the night so that I can spray paint in their parking lot at night. So all my neighbors see me roaming the neighborhood with a spray can in one hand and a puppet in the other regularly. I'm just trying to tooth this up a little bit so the paint will adhere to it a little bit better. I understand Elmo has like a little cozy thing that they put over his eyes when he travels to keep him white, because I guess that red fur just wreaks havoc on him, and any scratch will show up. Okay. What do I use for the pupils? I have this sticky back velvet paper that I found on Amazon. It's not the best stuff in the world. They have different grades of it. I think I got the cheapest one, but I use that. And then I have a series of those little like scrapbooking die cut things in various different sizes. And I think I use a 5/8 on Mayberry's eyes. Okay, so those are the eyes now, which actually look a lot better, but I still think I'm going to paint them. Okay, but before I do that, I'm going to put the posts on the back of these. This is going to be pretty short video. Because like I said, there's not a whole lot I can do today without the antennas already made. Here's the pupil. I'll show you the pupils too. I'm not going to put them on yet, but I have a series of these things, these little, punches, and then this is the sticky back paper. So what I do, this is the one I use for the Melonpool puppets. You just basically put this in here and punch it out, and it makes a pupil. So that would be kind of what it would look like. Oh, there's his eyes. Hi, Dave. How's it going? It's good. I've been busy today. Busy destroying a 14-year-old puppet or a 12-year-old puppet. Okay. So I went out and I actually bought some washers and some nuts and bolts that all fit each other so that I can put these on the back. I should have gotten some wing nuts too, but I didn't see them in this size, and so I didn't want to spend all night at Home Depot. So my decision process on the pupil size is whatever looks best without making them look stoned. So I can show you. Okay, so these are the ones that I think are right. I think this is the biggest one I have. So if I put on those, his eyes look. So this is me when I get my eye thing done. No, all right, and then this is a couple sizes smaller. So these are actually what I used for a long time, but they looked a little too small, which is why I swapped them out to that. Which is just a little bit. These are 3/8. These are 7/8. I think this is 7 or 75% of an inch. So this is 3/8. That's the ones I like. I could do these. This is when a flash bulb goes off, I guess. can't even, they're so small. Yeah, those are too small. But I'll tell you what they are good for. If I wanted to, why I even have this is, and I don't like the look of this, but I know a lot of people do. You can put these on, and then suddenly they have like a watery eye look. I have a tiny one here too. There we go. This is what I was looking for. That's for when he's trying to get, you know, he's trying to do the Puss in Boots thing. So like these are the ones I used on Zoidberg, which are super small. It's kind of like South Park looking. So really, it's just like the size that I think looks best, and I still think the 5/8 looks probably the best. Now I have a whole bunch of choices. And placement too. Like when he's actually a cartoon character or whatever, he'll look over like that. And it looks really kind of weird, or up, or you know, cross-eyed, wall-eyed, over to one side. You know, it's these eyes are so huge when the cartoon, and they really helpful. You have to have kind of a bigger pupil just to give him eye focus. Okay. Oh, so the whole reason I was even getting in here was to put these posts on. And what I found with Roberta is that they didn't want to stick. So what I did was I used the plumber's epoxy to fix them in place. I'll zoom in on this. I put the plumber's epoxy in there to keep it in place, and then they just popped off. But I could super glue them in place on the. There was enough of a bond between this and the super glue and the plumber's epoxy that it made it solid. So I'll probably do the same thing with this. Okay, my favorite stuff. Hi, TC. How's it going? Thank you. Doesn't look so great now. He's rapidly aged since you saw him the last time. His hair's all flipped back. I'm amazed that this is all one piece that I can do, but make it a little bit easier for me to put the antenna on. But anyway, hopefully that didn't disturb you. It disturbed me. Looking into my future. Okay. Okay, so this is that plumber's epoxy, the Pro Epoxy. If I can find the end of it. Okay. You just knead it up. Oh, that's a good idea. This is actually 120 grit. Yeah, I had to super glue Roberta's eyes, the back of Roberta's eyes, to get them to stay. But Sam's didn't. I wonder if they were sanded at one point. Yeah, exactly. Flip top head. Yeah, if it wasn't for the painting, I could actually reinstall these today with the new backs, but I think I should paint them. Let them dry overnight. Okay, so I get this to a medium gray. I'm gonna have it. The main thing is just to try and get them as straight as possible. Like their placement themselves aren't that big of a deal. But I want them to be parallel to each other and basically in line with each other. I'm doing a banged up job here. And this stuff stays soft for about 20 minutes. And until it starts to kick off, like you basically have to just keep coming back to it to make sure they're still the way you want them to be, because they'll start to drift, fall over. Okay, so that's. You got a tip on what? The hair? I keep thinking about buying one of those $30 toupees that they sell on Amazon. Just as kind of a trial, see how I like it. And if I like it, then I could splurge for maybe a $50 toupee. Okay, those are starting to set up, which is good. And you can smooth it out with a little bit of alcohol. Try not to get any on the threads. I think one of the Ralphs that I made over the years had a bolt that came out on the front of his eyes, like so. And then I just put a piece of, I think I was using felt at the time for the pupil, over that. So he had this kind of three-dimensional eye, because the head of the of that nut was, or that post or bolt was sticking right out of his eye. Okay, that's starting to set up, which is good. Okay, get a paint stir stick and drill a couple of holes on it in the correct placement. Oh, that's a good idea. Stick the bolts through the holes with a nut on each of the bolts. That'll keep them standing straight up. Oh, that's a really good idea. Except the curvature of this, I don't know if it would allow me to do that. But still, that's a good idea. I like that idea. I'm not going to do that idea, but I like that. It's too late now. If I had that bending tool that you showed me, Dave, I think you showed it to me, I could bend those antennae over here, but my other one's bolted to my other workbench. They don't have to be completely straight, but straighter the better. And what happened on Roberta was when I was putting them in, they both popped off of there. So if that happens, I just basically saw where they were, and I put some kicker on the back of this, and then some super glue in the space where it was, and I stuck it back down. And I haven't had any problems. But the nice thing about Roberta was I didn't have to sew all the way around. I mean, yeah, with Roberta, I didn't have to sew it all around here. It conformed to her head pretty well. Sam's was a little smaller, so I had to put a couple of stitches around to keep the eyes on. But yeah. But, you know, these are all things that I've learned since I built these puppets. These different techniques. Some of which I've ignored. But yeah, I think it's too late for this one. Yeah, they're already getting warm. So that's out of the way. I don't need any of these eyes. Except maybe these, but put them aside to lose. So I was going to use the baking soda trick, but I always forgot to get the baking soda. It kind of works like kicker, but it also makes it into a paste, which, you know, works pretty well. I saw he actually put that on a dragon puppet that I made for another project. I had him just stuck on with double-sided tape, and he got there and he's like, "You mind if I fix those eyes?" He said, "Keep your hands off my puppet." Okay, so these antennae, I believe, are off of one of the original Melonpools. You can see how much abuse they've gone through. I'll keep these just in case I need them. So what I do, I kind of showed this before. But what I do for the antenna is I bend it into kind of a zigzag shape and kind of bend it to conform to the head. So, and then I bend these two parts up. So there's like 5.5 inches sticking up. And then I put shrink tubing on the ends and shrink that down. And then put a knob of that plumber's epoxy on the top to make the top of the antenna. Again, I've only done it once, but I like the effect. Yeah, that's pretty well set up now, which is great. Okay. And this isn't long enough for it. But like I said, I have that little jig that I can bend wire with pretty easily, and I don't really feel like setting up a camera to show you guys how to do that. Yeah, it's a little bit heavier, but there's not a whole lot of, I mean, I used a little on the top and I used a little on the eyes, but that's really the only Propoxy I used on this thing. I'll show you, actually. Let's see if I can get those. I've shown you guys the Mr. Rogers puppets, right? So, speaking of Propoxy, I think his nose is made out of Propoxy. but King Friday's head is almost entirely Propoxy. He has a foam core, and then I put the Propoxy on there in little pieces and then shaped it. But what was nice about that is it is almost indestructible. I can't tell you how many times I've dropped this thing, and it hasn't taken a dent, which is great. But it's a little heavy. It's a lot heavy. Let's see. But yes. But this one's so heavy because she has not only her face, but she's got her nose, which has a dowel in it, and still not long enough. Here we are, dearie. Boomerang, toomerang, soomerang. Oh well, they're fun though. Henrietta Pussycat. But yeah, this was a fun project. I think I'm going to be building some more of not these puppets, but other characters coming up, because we have an idea for another show. Yeah, I like to make them heavy because I like to make puppeteers suffer. No, I'm just kidding. It's all just like weighing what's necessary to make it work. I don't have Daniel Tiger in here. I need to make a Daniel Tiger. There you go. As Benjamin Franklin always says, I'm shocked. Yeah, that was a line from our little thing. I do have Henrietta here. And her dress was made by Lori Everett. Meow, meow, meow. Fashion model, meow. I just have Daniel's head. That's all I have. I don't have a puppet for him. But yeah, I'll be revisiting this later this year in my live feed because I need to make a couple more characters. The smart thing I did with those puppets is I built them to American Girl scale. So she just prior to getting the custom dress, Henrietta Pussycat just wore an American Girl outfit, and Lady Elaine, there was an Etsy person that made custom sweaters for American Girl. And so I got her to make a red one. So that's where that came from. But yeah. So I don't have much else to show you guys today, unfortunately. It was a real short one. Unless you have any questions. Thank you, Dave. I think the next batch of puppets I'm going to make Cornflake especially, which is the little factory guy, and probably the two duckbill platypuses, Dr. Bill, and I can't remember his wife's name. The two of them, and then I'm going to make Daniel. So I think those are the four I'm going to make for the next show. Can hold part, yes. So what I've heard that you can do with that and pinking shears is you can sharpen them just by punching aluminum foil, and then you just do it a few times and it sharpens up the blade. I don't use them enough to really make them too bad, and the only thing I use them for is that paper, and they're pretty cheap too. I mean, I have a lot of them because I was always looking for a 5/8. But I always forget what size I had already. And I'd go to a Michael's out of town and I go, they have a 3/8. I should get that. And so I have like 3 3/8 when I was looking for a 5/8. Oh, I got one other thing I can show you. I think. Here we go. So we did that show. Corey and I did that show for the Puppet Slam, the Mr. Rogers Murder Mystery. And I wrote the first draft of it. And Corey was like, hey, there's only one thing missing. And I said, what? And she said, the trolley. And I said, I'm not going to build a trolley. Maybe I could have a cardboard cutout that whatever. And she goes, don't worry about it. I'll make the trolley. And so she arrived with this that she made, which is awesome. It's one of my most favorite things. Has a little whistle in there. It's got the little railings for the things. It's on a truck chassis, so it actually will roll. But yeah, it's awesome. So anyway, that was a really fun bit, and she made it all out of wood. And then it has a couple screws in the bottom there that attach to a rod so we can move it along the track. Oh, that's my heat map. Okay. All right. Well, that's about all of Mr. Rogers stuff I have to show. Other than my cardigan sweater. That's the only other thing I have. So anyway, sorry to have kept that, made that one pretty short. I don't know what else I can do until this is ready to paint. I think it needs to sit for another 20 minutes or so. But then I could install those. Yeah, there's not much else I can do on Mayberry. Do you or anyone else on here have any suggestions on the making of train puppets? L200, Foss shape, both? I would say not Foss shape. It's not going to get rigid enough for it. But I think I would say L200. What do you think, Dave? What do you use the punches on, Laura, that it would dull so fast? It was just paper? I got one that was dull because I tried to use foam, like that fun foam in it, and it just messed it up. Sorry, I'm waiting for the answer to this question. I suppose I could. Oh, I bought some new Sharpies today, but unfortunately I haven't unpacked them yet. So the next puppet I'm going to make is Sammy, the hamster. Which kind of looks like that. Well, looks exactly like that. So that's basically it from the front. Sorry about this pen. I mean, he's not going to have legs, but I'll draw him just for so you know. So that's kind of what I'm going to be building. The old Sammy, again, he's falling apart, but you can kind of see what I was trying to do. See, I'm trying to get it about the same scale, but I have a lot of improvements that I can make on this puppet. So, this will be an interesting thing. And I'm going to use this is a short fur, which shows every seam. And I may have machine sewn this too. But I have had the same color or almost the same color. It looks the same color to me. In a longer fur that I had just enough to make the bangs and the little fringe around his hair, his jowls. But on this one, I'm going to make it out of all long hair and then shave down all the other fur. So, and there's his little tail on the back. So something to look forward to. It tells about the adventures of Eddie the Therapy Dog. Eddie doesn't have a whole lot of things to talk about. I do have them right here, though. And well, here I am, Eddie the Therapy Dog, and I've been relegated to yesterday's news, I suppose. Hanging on a box, hanging on a wall. I used to go everywhere with this guy. Now look at me. Therapy Dog. Yeah, that's about his adventures. He hangs on a wall all day. Yeah, I think probably for anything that's like a hard structure, I would say use L200 and just like really, you can pattern it the same way as regular foam. You just have to kind of know that it's not going to have as much give. I have. This thing's in disrepair, but you can kind of see this is all L200. And the mouth still kind of works, but all the other mechanisms, like this is all broken. I need to do some serious repair work on her. But you can see it gets the curves where you need to. And if you hide your seams real well, you can hit it with Plasticoat, Plastidip, and then you can paint it with anything, just regular Krylon, whatever. See, the eyes still kind of work. The mouth kind of works. Yeah, I got to take this thing apart and fix it. So anyway. But I think it could. I used just regular upholstery foam to pattern that, and then I just transferred it all over to L200. I think I made the body out of a cardboard box first, and then figured out all the angles and stuff, and did it that way. I don't know. If you look at my old Melonpool account, you can see all the iterations of that thing as I was doing. Because I wasn't really live streaming, but I was. Every day I would do another little update about how it was put together. Oh, my split second adventure. Yeah. He was interviewed more than I was. Well, anyway, I'm going to get out of here, but thanks for tuning in for this. This is like the biggest audience I've had, and I have nothing to show. But it'll be better tomorrow when I can get Mayberry back together. And he should be done tomorrow, so that'd be great. So, all right, I will see you guys tomorrow, and have a good evening. Bye. I'll be like Swazzle and kind of